So I've just sat through the long, boring keynote announcement by Apple. They've talked about the 3 new phones, the XS, the XS Max and the XR. And no, it isn't XS, they keep saying XS. Now, I'm not a big fan of their keynotes. They go on too long and they don't tell you enough specifications in my opinion, and they use words like liquid retina to refer to the screen, or they'll say that the battery lasts 30 minutes longer instead of just telling you the actual size of the battery. But hey, I'm more a guy that likes to look at specifications rather than marketing talk. But enough about that, let's look at what's been announced. So here's the main iPhone page, but if I jump over to the comparison page, you can see the 3 new phones, the XS, the XS Max and the XR, and you can see I'm calling them the XS already. They're calling it the XS, XS Max and XR. So this is available, these two here, the XS, silver, space grey, gold. This one is blue, white, black, yellow, coral and product red. Now let's talk about price. The XS here on the left hand side, that's going to cost you $999, $1,099 for the XS Max, and it's $749 for the XR. And in the UK, despite the fact it's $1.30 to the pound, change that dollar symbol to a pound sign. So we're kind of paying 30% more. But let's jump over and we'll talk specifications. So again, just to remind you, XS here, this is a 5.8 inch version, XS Max in the middle, and then XR. So you can see the different sizes here, 5.8 inch display, 6.5 inch display, 6.1 inch. Now you can see they're calling these ones Super Retina display. The pixels per inch is obviously higher in these ones. Dual 12 megapixel wide angle and telephoto cameras. This one has a single camera at the back. 7 megapixel at the front. Face ID, it's the same A12 Bionic chip in all phones. A little bit extra water resistant in the XS. Then the capacities are the same, 64, 256, 512 for these two, and 64, 128 and 256 for that one. So a little bit different, but the same for these two. So really what you're looking at here are the differences between the XS, the XS Max and then the XR. You can see here the XR here doesn't have what they call an HDR display, and it's because it's got 326 pixels per inch. These ones are 458. Doesn't have 3D touch either. There's the size and weight if that's relevant to you. Okay, so camera is very important, and you can see here that the XS and the XS Max have a dual 12 megapixel camera, wide angle f1.8 and telephoto 2.4, whilst the XR has a 12 megapixel f1.8. These two have dual optical image stabilization. This one has single optical image stabilization. 2x optical zoom, digital zoom up to 10. This one is digital zoom up to 5. Now there's a lot of other differences there, but you can see that the XS of course will have the better camera, so you're going to get better photos, better videos with the XS and XS Max. That is to be expected because those phones are much more expensive. Video recording, 4K, 24, 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. So that's something I'm really pleased at. You know, as someone as a YouTuber, 4K at 60 frames per second is really, really impressive. 1080p at 30 or 60 as well. I was surprised that the cheaper XR could do 60 frames per second. That was a really nice bonus. Slow-mo video up to 240 as well. So the cameras do look really good. And you'll see samples on their main pages about this. And then the front camera, pretty much the same for all three because it's the same sensor. So there's some other small differences there, but most of the rest of the specs are the same. Look at that. Doesn't even tell you the battery size. 1.5 hours longer than an iPhone 8 Plus. An iPhone X. That for me, this is really frustrating. I know they've got the hourly time there. You know, they've got the video playback, they've got internet use, they've got talk time and all that. I want to see the battery size, and yes, the battery size doesn't tell you the whole picture. You have to look at software and all that, and you know, software and hardware go together. But for the love of God, tell me the actual battery size. I want to know the size of the battery in there without having to go to other websites to find out. Just something that really annoys me with Apple websites in general. So, dual SIM is another feature that's going to please a lot of people. Now, if you look at the actual pages for the 10S and the 10S Max and the 10R, you'll see a lot of the features that they're pushing. It does, you know, in my opinion, you can see wireless charging there. In my opinion, all three of these phones look really, really nice. I know the notch isn't very popular with a lot of people. A lot of people don't like it. It's not something that really bothers me. It's not something that really bothers me. But yeah, they're really pushing the photos and the camera, as always. You can see it there. 2 times faster sensor. 4K video up to 60 frames per second. That's really impressive in my opinion. So I won't bore you anymore with specifications. The older phones, the 6S has been taken away from the iPhone website, and you know the iPhone 7 is now down at, if it loads, load up. So iPhone 7 is now $449 in the USA, $569, and the 8, $599 and $699. So the older iPhones have dropped in price as well, but really at $699, I assume that most people would opt for the 10R because that's been priced at $750, and this could be one of the most popular iPhones. Could be an entry point for a lot of people to get in there. It's a fairly cheap iPhone as far as you know, a new one, you know, the latest generation iPhone. I think this one looks pretty funky as well with all the different colours that are available for it, but the camera performance isn't going to be as good as the 10S and the 10S Max. So, as always, what's my opinion of this? You know, a lot of people think that I don't like Apple devices. I do. I do think that they're kind of overpriced. I think that about the Samsung Note and all that as well. Fantastic phones, fantastic products, but very expensive as well. £1,100 for the 10S Max. And that's, you know, that's just for the basic version. You know, if you go to the 10S and then you opt for, you know, the 512GB version, well, look at the money that you're going to have to spend. Buy without a carrier. Silver. Look at that. It's very expensive. So the prices that I've been quoting so far are, you know, the lowest storage, 64GB. That for a phone is insane. Of course, there's no micro SD card slot, so you can't, you know, increase storage. You can't do it any other way. You have to, if you think that you need 512GB, I think it's overkill. I think the 128GB version is the one that most people would probably go for, but even at that, $1,250 for the Max. Very, very expensive. But overall, these are gorgeous phones. These look like fantastic phones from a camera point of view, from a performance point of view. I don't think anyone's going to have any gripes with these phones. I think they're sexy. I think they look amazing. But again, you can't talk about an Apple price. You can't talk about any phone that's been sold for over $1,000 without talking about the price of it. These phones are very expensive. And, you know, as someone who's just bought an Android phone at like £270, £280, which is basically going to give me the same performance as that, well, it does raise the question as to, you know, how much should you be paying for a phone? But that's a different discussion point for another day. If you are involved, if you are tied to the Apple ecosystem, if you do like Apple iPhones, I think all three of these phones look great. I think the camera looks amazing. I think the actual design of it looks amazing as well. I think they've actually improved the design over the previous models. And there's quite a few different colours that you can buy as well, especially with the 10R. So yeah, I do think it's stupidly expensive, but there's no denying that these are sexy phones. No denying at all. And the camera, you know, video and photo performance looks absolutely amazing if you look at the samples and the videos that they're showing. So I think that's going to please a lot of people as well. As always, guys, I'd love to hear what you think, so please do leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this below. Would you buy an iPhone 10s, 10s Max? I keep trying to say XS. 10s, 10s Max or 10R? Let me know in the comment area what you think about these new phones, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Cheers, guys.